Tonight at Rock Candy, Jim Rose will smash his face into a pile of broken glass while members of the audience step on the back of his head. Z-Rock presents a human demolition spectacular, Live Freaks.
When Tim was sticking the pins and the meat skewers through his face, everybody in the crowd was going, everybody, 900 people. You know, that was the look on every one of their faces. And when the Tube was doing his thing, it was a more of a contorted thing, you know. It wasn't just shock, it was a shock plus I'm not sure I want to watch this. And every one of them have that look on their face. And Lifto is more of a wide-eyed thing and the mouth not open as much. It's more of a, because they like it, it's more of a smile. You know, it's that type of a look. Every one of them at some period during that show thinks, why do these people do this? Crowds, people these days are so jaded. They don't want the pizzazz. Even when I dance around with the razor blades, that's even overdoing it too much. But I like dancing with a dwarf while I eat razor blades. There's just something cool about that. We tend to stay pretty true. There are a couple of places in the show where things could probably go easier than they looked. But for the most part, what you see is what you get. So, you know, in other words, we give you a dose of real stuff. And the show's calculated to touch on just about every personal little phobia one might have. I want to know why they got into the show is because when I first saw their act, it may not have been them doing the act, but the first time I saw that act, I remember what went through my head. You know? So, you know, I know what I like in the show. I know.
It's funny, but that's...
When he does the profile with those hooks through his tits, his nipples, excuse me, he, you know, and then he does that profile, it's etched in your mind. For those of you out there wanting to know what we're talking about, there you go. The amazing Mr. Lifto sticks a hook through his penis. Now, by the way, his penis is pierced right from where you urinate. You'll notice he uses that as one of the exit holes, and the incoming hole is up underneath the head. And of course, he's got a pin stuck through both ends there, just to let you know he can take it. Also, you know, like I mentioned, some of the S&M types totally confuse what we're doing. Then your rednecks, you know, I mean, it's so weird. Rednecks in an audience, if they're with their girlfriends or their wives, they're feeling threatened in some weird way because we're more macho than them. You know, and I can't even quite explain how that plays out, but somehow I'm more manly because I can put my face in broken glass and let people stand on the back of my head. Somehow that got confused with manliness. Ever since people started rushing the stage to drink stomach bile, I no longer can predict where things are going to go. Go, lady, go! I went all over. He's got a hard living, mostly in the street before. Yeah, I miss it a lot. I miss the whole thing of not having to deal with promoters, having to deal with the different things, you know. I just like being able to go out, set my bed of nails up, pour a bunch of glass out on the sidewalk, and, you know, put a straitjacket on and let them start circling me. A lot of the stuff like juggling chainsaws and catching bullets with your teeth. These types of things you don't do all the time because you know it'll sneak up on you and you get bit. See, the more you do it, the more familiar you are with it, and the less you respect it. And as soon as you don't respect what you're doing, you get bit. That's when you get hurt. Did I ever tell you about lighting our dicks on fire?
No.
We used to do this funny thing. You do the lighter fluid all over your dick and then light it on fire. And then, as we put it out, see, you know, we also had a little fake head of a penis that was all burnt, and we'd have it drop onto the fucking stage. Then we'd kick it out to the audience and say, keep the tip. Some people may even question my sanity. But, hey, you know, for the type of people you're trying to do this for, the HBO, we're talking about some wild stuff. You know, I'm 38, so I'm at a point where I'm not so sure kids should see this. But basically, I just show up in a town and do the show. The promoters make those calls. I prefer that kids aren't there, to tell you the truth.
Why is that?
Yeah, they just, some of the shit they just don't need to see. Kids are impressionable. And we seem to be making an impression on adults, so there's no telling what we're doing to kids. And a lot of kids, I'm sure, can handle it the way you said, with a little knowledge behind it. But kids are kids, so if you do it to enough numbers of them, one of them's going to take it the wrong way and do something incorrect. It's like those kids, man. They kept telling me they'd break bottles over their head and stuff, you know. What can we do to get in your show? What can we do? What can we do? I basically told them, well, tattoo yourself around and we'll call you Turd Boy. Yeah, and you know how Houdini died, right? Okay, well, just a kid came up to Houdini and punched him in the stomach as hard as he could, punctured his kidney or something like that. He bled internally and died. Okay, well, it's like Houdini could have taken that punch, but he wasn't flexed for it, you know? And the kids don't realize this flexing has to take place or whatever. They just know, there's Houdini! King, you know? And I can remember the first time I was actually ready to go down into the glass. I was down on my knees, looking down into it. Just everything in my body was telling me, no, don't do this. It's like people that bungee jump. The hardest point is jumping off, because your body, I mean, intellectually you know that, okay, I'm tied up. But your body says, don't jump over that damn thing. So multiply that a little bit, and then you'll get the sense of where we are with stunts that we do. Because we don't really have a rope tied to our feet. Again, as you well know, you go tell people what you just saw, and they can't believe you even would watch it. But when you're there, you're not only watching it, but you're having fun watching it. And that's what we got to do. We always have to make watching this horrible stuff fun.